What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dunk on AP podcast. Today we're dunking on AP World. We got a little mini lesson today on topic 1.7, comparison in the period from 1200 to 1450. So essentially what this is, at the end of the CED in each unit, they're going to do a little comparison talk, basically saying how did things change in this time period and how did they stay the same from the beginning of the time period. So let's start with the similarities in state formation from 1200 to 1450. All of the states that we talked about in this unit continue traditions of people of the past in their areas. Some examples of this: the Song dynasty in China, meritocracy based on Confucian principles, strong bureaucracy, and the mandate of heaven stayed the same. Dar al-Islam. Islam was used as more than just religion, including Sharia law. It worked on spreading faith through conquest, trade, and Sufi missionaries who emphasized trade. India. They utilized the caste system for social cohesion and incorporated invaders, particularly Muslim invaders, particularly in the north with the Delhi Sultanate. Inca and Mexica, in the really what's going to be the American continent is really just the unknown part of the world from 1200 to 1450. The Inca and the Mexica, they had similar religious beliefs from 1200 to 1450 and need for sacrifices to appease the gods. Africa. The sub-Saharan African kingdoms in particular continued the importance of the trans-Saharan trade to people, the growth of the slave trade with Muslim merchants, and the use of griots, men and women, remember, to keep their history. Europe maintained the importance of the two Christian sects at this time. Now, the differences in state formations from 1200 to 1450, they also changed. These states that we just talked about also changed from the tradition of past states. Now, the Song dynasty, they began to suppress Buddhism through their government bureaucrats. The bureaucrats tended to be placed at the head of the military now, and foot binding begins in this time. Dar al-Islam, the spread of Islam by Sufis in South and Southeast Asia, maintained some of the pre-Islamic beliefs, but remember that Sufis were much more likely to blend it with the local culture. Now, India, ruled largely by Muslims who relied on Hindu princes to maintain order. Remember, this, particularly in the north and then even a little bit in the south, this was a society that really, even though they weren't a Muslim society, the Muslims had a ton of say and they had a ton of power here, but they relied on Hindu princes in more localized regions to maintain their power. The Inca and the Mexica developed governments based around one powerful emperor rather than local city-states. Africa, they embraced Islam to build trade and political relations, particularly in northern Africa, but even in some places in sub-Saharan Africa. Remember, the only Christian kingdom in Africa at this time is going to be Ethiopia. Otherwise, you've got some tribal religions and things like that. Europe shifted away from the feudal system to more centralized governments, monarchies really under powerful kings. Now, innovations in state formation at this time. All of these states made innovations to improve governing, the trade, military. Song dynasty had introduced champa rice, iron plows, draft animals, fertilizer, paper money, improved iron and porcelain production. Dar al-Islam actually develops lines of credit. And they improved gunpowder, improved paper making. They used Hindu numerals to expand mathematics, invented camel saddles, and the caravanserais, where traders would stay along the Silk Road or whatever network of exchange they're on. Remember, with Islam, they aren't always inventing stuff. They often are innovating, and they are improving on inventions that come from other places, even if those places are not Islamic. With India, they learned the monsoon winds. They facilitated trade through specialization. The Inca and the Mexica, they had a massive road building to govern their empire. They built a tributary system also to get sacrificial victims. With Africa, they developed kin networks that formed confederations and specialized to meet the needs of the people in the area. Also, mud buildings to regulate temperatures. Remember that Africa in general is going to be less centralized than many of the other kingdoms at this time. And then in Europe, they start to build large professional armies. So that is all that I've got for you guys for comparison in the period from 1200 to 1450. You guys have a great one.